All right, so for this next matchup, I think this one could be good. We have two of the bottom feeders in this league, MicroFish and Blazing Magi. So my team, I think we got a little bit better, and I think this is very winnable for my squad. Um, in fact, I do think we'll win this. To be honest, maybe it's just my ego speaking, but I believe we contend a little bit more with these mid range teams now with my roster. Um, I could be wrong, but I think the double shield Soj Sim is very good. First up is going to be Gibraltar against this Microfish squad. Microfish are no slouches either, but I think we can take them. Both of us are probably going to miss the league. So they're a 1-5 team, and we're a 1-5 team. So theoretically, this should be an evenly matched setup here. Um, my team has actually won one more map than this team. So Microfish and Blazing Magi, I think this is gonna be interesting. Um, yeah, they denied my trade offer, so I'm hoping I beat them. Doo doo doo. I'm gonna be on offense first here. I realize that I don't put my team on the red side too often. I'm like pretty much always putting my team on the blue side, just because it's like that instinctual like bias. So we're gonna try putting my team on the red side for once. But we're starting on Gibby here. I think we won this map against Krusty Crushers last week, I want to say. Blazing Magi looking for their second win, as well as Microfish. Neither of our squads are very likely to make playoffs at all. In fact, we probably won't. But this is all about ego here. This is an ego duel to find out which of our teams is the best of the bottom feeders. Uh, a toilet bowl, so to speak, as the Krusty Crushers and Blazing Magi were also that. This could go either way, as far as I'm concerned. But I think my team's got this. Let's solo this. Come on, boys and ladies. Boom, boom. Okay, well, Sigma jumps down alone. That was a bit fool heart right there. I don't know why he went in all by himself. That's going to be a quick dubskis here for Microfish, actually. Very good fight for them. Winston gonna fall here. Does pick up the Tracer at the end, but I think she will be back shortly. Sojourn able to pick up that Zen on the back. And so we have a 2v2 now. Winston's going to be back here, though, so now it is a 3v2, as slowly but surely Microfish, I believe, are going to be weeded out here. They're just down too many members now, and they don't have a spawn advantage like Blazing Magi do. So, eventually, Blazing Magi will get this payload moving. Sojourn getting a crucial pick there on that Zen. And in that first fight, Monkey taking out that Tracer at the end was also pretty good. We're not quite pushing this payload, though. Tracer going to come in. She is getting kind of harassed here. Forced out the recall already. And she's getting very low. Tracer is going to be the first of all. Genji's going to go down next. Zen alive back here. However, he's going to fall. Oh, he does actually manage to take out the Sig before he goes down. But don't think it's going to be quite enough. Blazing Magi continuing to move this payload. I'm feeling it. Brig might go in here and feed a little bit. Looks like she will, so she is going to get surrounded and killed. Blazing Magi just slowly but surely moving through this map. Genji going to come in here. Tracer as well. Genji going to be taken down. Tracer, last one alive, and she will fall. Zen's going to come through this corridor, but I don't think he's long for this world. He does actually pick up the Sim, so good work from the Zen there. But he's eventually just going to be pushed back. No, Zen just putting in as much work as he can. Absolutely carrying this squad as per normal. It's just been his tried and true position on this roster. pretty much solo carrying. Then it's going to push in. So, Blazing Magi getting routed here a little bit. MicroFish putting in some work on the defense. Kill both the tanks. Sin, kind of alone here. She's probably going to get soloed out here, and she does. Blazing Magi just looking to regroup here. Very interesting fights shaping out here for MicroFish and Blazing Magi. They have been trading blows. Zen looking for that Winston, who is on high ground. Very rare use of high ground. Getting a little bit too deep there, though. However, going to force out 2 support ults. Be traded here for the Symmetra ult, and that will be that fight. Layering support ults there. However, now Blazing Magi have about 3 ults coming up here for this next fight, so we will have to see what happens with that. On the other side, no ultimates available for MicroFish. Zen getting in pretty deep here. He does eventually take out that Sojourn, so Zen just putting in work like he usually does. Very strong hero in overbots. And I think that will be the fight win here for MicroFish. However, we are sitting on a 3 stack of ultimates from the side of Blazing Magi, so we'll have to see if they use any of those going into this next fight. Genji gonna dash forward for some reason. Zen taking some forward positioning. Does eventually go back to his team. 150 on the clock here for Blazing Magi. Here comes the Surge. That is gonna get that Brig eventually. Primal's gonna come out too, basically popping all the ultimates. Actually, Zen able to find the pick on the, oh my word, Zen is just fully carrying the squad. So, Sigma probably going to fall here. Doesn't put in too much work. He will eventually go down. MicroFish doing a very good job at holding this. Just having some tough times pushing through here, and now they have a lot of ults to work with. I don't know if Blazing Magi are going to be able to push past this point. Seems they seem to be a little bit stuck here against this MicroFish squad. Zen has just been putting in so much work. Sojourn getting a little bit stuck here in the brain. Not quite what she's doing. Zen able to pick up that. Oh wow, Genji getting really low, but he's able to take out the Sojourn. Looking pretty good here on the second point of Gibby. Only 30 seconds left. They have that trance to work with. They have the blade. And Blazing Magi are sitting with no ults because their initial fight with those ults just went so poorly. They only got Brig with 3 ultimates. And the Sojourn did fall while popping hers. So this is going to be a pick coming in for the MicroFish. And that is just where the payload is going to have to stop. So now you have set a point for yourselves to defend. However, matter of actually defending that is going to be pretty difficult here if you are Blazing Magi. You can basically not let them get first checkpoint. If they get first checkpoint, it's probably over. We will have to see, though. We have seen very close holds on this map, though. This map is one of those maps that's kind of rare to finish unless you're a way better team than the other team. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. I think Blazing Magi actually performed quite well on this map prior. They did manage to hold Krusty Crushers underneath the bridge, if I remember right. However, Krusty Crushers are not quite the caliber that even MicroFish are, so we will have to see here. This first map going pretty well in favor of MicroFish so far, but Their attack remains to be seen. I do expect them to at least get out of this spawn hold. Most teams can. Real problems start to become apparent once you get underneath that first bridge. If you can't get through that, that's where some troubles can start to spawn. So we will see if MicroFish can get under that bridge, and that's pretty much the only chance I think Blazing Magi have at winning this map, is if MicroFish cannot get underneath that bridge. First checkpoint. So we're going to see some barriers being used here, hopefully to the better a better ability than they were used on that attack. It was kind of abysmal in the second point. But on this first point, maybe we'll see a little bit less mistakes coming out from Blazing Magi. I'm hoping we do. Okay. Very good start here for MicroFish. They are able to trade out the Sim. However, Sojourn getting 2. Winston getting very low. Sojourn getting 3 members. Sojourn putting in some work on this first point. Need to see a little bit more of that if you are Blazing Magi. Fortunately, you do lose your Sim, so you lose a little bit of your staying power. Those turrets are nice to have. A lot of teams don't look at those turrets. Sigma getting very low. However, he's going to use his kinetic grasp to get some more HP out of the matter. However, Soju's a little deep. She does actually get the Zen. Sim is back. This spawn camp looking pretty solid here for Blazing Magi. Lot better for our spawn camp than theirs, I will say. So if we have anything to look forward to, it's that our spawn camp. Our trap has seemed to be working a little bit better than it did for the side of MicroFish. 2 minutes almost off the clock here. Off rip. So Genji getting very low. However, Winston also very low on the other side. And that is a very strong start here for MicroFish. They are able to pick off 2, which means they will eventually break this spawn camp. And they will start moving. And this is where the next fight is going to take place. And I think this is the most crucial fight in the series. If Blazing Magi can stop them in this underpass, I don't think MicroFish are going to win this map. But if vice versa, if MicroFish win this next fight, I think they're going to win. So, very crucial fight coming up here. In fact, they might not even have a fight in the underpass, which would be to the dismay. Oh, Tracer going up very deep. I don't know about this play by Tracer. She's forced to recall very quickly. Winston getting very low on the side, however. Here come the barriers. The barriers are here now. Zen is going to be the first fall. You do not want to see that if you are MicroFish. He is your carry. And now this is where I think, well, Winston getting a little bit overzealous there. However, Sim able to take out the Genji on the back half there. And this is where things get very, very rough if you are MicroFish. Pushing through this underpass against this Symmetra squad is going to be rough. Like I said, I believe if whoever wins that next fight is probably going to win this map. So I think Blazing Magi are going to win this map. We will see, though. Depends on bots. Bots do have a tendency to throw. So we will see. Going up top, actually. Very rare move by the bots here. Zen getting very low, though, immediately, and having your Zen fall is sure you don't like to see that. Sojourn, however, also going to fall, but Sim still up, and she will take out that Genji. So the retaliation is here, and all you have left is the Tracer and the Brig, I believe the weakest pieces of this squad. Okay, here comes Tracer. Oh boy, Brig's going to feed here, and that, yeah, this is probably going to be the first map. Oh, she does actually take, okay. Good work here by the Tracer. However, Soja's back. So even though Winston's probably going to fall here, Soj able to take out that Tracer. Ooh, big pick coming through. Okay, so now it's going to be down to one more fight after this, I believe. Sigma going to get that health back. Here comes the Sim. She is going to immediately pop that shield. Going onto this Genji. Genji's he's in dire straits. He is done. 11 seconds left here on the clock. 10 seconds on the clock. Brig is going to get in here. She is probably going to die. And yeah, this is kind of what I expected to see if that first fight wasn't won by MicroFish. And that will be the map going the way of Blazing Magi. So, had a very rough attack of their own, but they are able to get it done on the defense. Taking map 1. My squad could never be prouder of them. especially since of how many early season struggles we had. Sojourn, the only maintained piece on my roster. So many trades and drops happening as I was frustrated with the performance, but now seeing as we can at least contend with these lower tier squads, I'm feeling quite a bit better. I'm sorry, my doggy. I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to drop that. Okay. I just had my deodorant stick fly off my thing. Okay. Throne of Anubis next. So this one's interesting. I think this one could favor MicroFish a little bit more. A lot of tight corridors. Hard for my Winston to deal with at times. Lazy Magi currently lead the series 1-0. Very proud of their performance here today. We already have a map under our belt, and as you know, if you can win a map in a series, you can more than likely win the whole series, just depending on the luck of the draw. Okay. We'll see how this first point goes here. Usually these points are decided by one fight. Winston going to get shredded here. Very ill-advised push coming out from Winston. He goes in all alone. However, trade being found, but I don't think it's going to matter here too much. MicroFish, I think, are going to be able to clean this one up. Just Sigma alive on the point for now. Is going to drop down. More than likely is a team fight victory for, or is a point victory for MicroFish here. As even if we do recontest, we're probably just going to die for it. So let's see. Okay, so they will eventually take the point, and this is not good for Winston. So Winston being a little bit of a feeder on that first point. And this could very likely just snowball into something worse here for Blazing Magi. They do get that Zen, but I think MicroFish just take this point regardless, so now you're going to have to fully rely on taking back this point and fully pushing through. So we'll see if Blazing Magi are up to the task here. Here come MicroFish. Going up separate sides here. Zen getting kind of isolated on the edge. Is able to deal with the Sojourn, though. He does get traded from the Soj, though. Brega going to fall, and that will just be the fight win for Blazing Magi. Losing both the Sigma and the Sojourn in that fight, but able to withstand. Now we will have to see how D goes. D is a little bit interesting. Blazing Magi need to win a lot of maps in order to win this now. Just a really rough start from the Winston, and Winston's just going to go in and probably die again. He's been very aggressive. He does eventually get out, but not going to be enough. As you can see, the rest of his team just kind of gets staggered out from there. This is looking like a very much a MicroFish map. As I was saying earlier, this map kind of favors them. So, Blazing Magi are going to have to string together a few wins past E if they want to have any chance at this map. My dog would just shut up. Sorry. My dog is being a little bit of a nuisance right now. I do love him, but my word, I'm giving him head pats. Okay, so 2-for-1 trade coming out on for favor of Blazing Magi. This is more than likely just a Blazing Magi team fight victory. You don't too often see teams down 2 members or down winning. So unless they are a very good team. All right. Really going to come down to, can Blazing Magi secure D and then C and then maybe win a B too. Comes the blade. Could be massive. So onto this Winston. Will eventually fall down. The trance is going to come out here. So a few ultimates expended on the side of the team currently in the lead, MicroFish. They will probably take this point, and now all they have to do is take a tick from the final point. However, Blazing Magi have to take their final point, so they have to win that one, and then they have to win D and C in order to, and B, to win this series now. So you have to do a full, actually, no, E, D, and C. You only have to win E, D, and C. Okay. So Blazing Magi have to win 3 back-to-back points here if they want to win, and on the other side, you just have to get a tick on this or win any of the next 2. So no ultimates coming out from either side here. It's looking doable for Blazing Magi, actually. So they will take this E, and by the time they take E, the other squad should already be in position to take the final point. It's just a matter of, can Blazing Magi win 3 back-to-back? So they will have 2 ultimates to work with. 21 seconds on the clock here to engage this. Here comes Winston with the primal. Genji getting in kind of deep here. Here comes the Winston. He is primaling, but he's getting chunked down so fast. He is eventually just going to fall. Here comes the ult. Sojourn also going to ult, so we will win this fight, I believe. Yes, we will. Okay. So now, if we want to win this map, and thus the series, we will have to win on C, and that is going to be a very tough ask against this MicroFish squad. As we saw in the first time these teams fought, it did go pretty much in favor of MicroFish, like totally, and now that they have point control to start, it's going to be even more rough. Genji getting a little bit stuck there, but he does eventually make his way back. No ultimates on the side of Blazing Magi is going to really hurt them, especially since Winston just likes to push up like this, unfortunately, for Blazing Magi, and that will just be it. So this will be a 2-2 series. Oh, wait. Okay, yep, okay. Yeah, this will be a 2-2 series headed into the next map. Blazing Magi cannot contest this. They are not nearly fast enough. With no Lucio on their squad here. So even with the slow take from one member, it's still only one fight. And MicroFish will take this second map. Blazing Magi make it a little close at the end there, but they just decided to Winston just feeding a little bit too much when it comes to these chokes. If you have a choke like that, it seems like Winston just feeds a little bit. He goes past his bubble for some reason. Anyways. So, 1-1 series headed into this next map. Busan. We have seen a Busan today. So, a 1-1 series. First of the day. Last 2 matches were 3-0s. So one of those matches wasn't really expected to be a 3-0. And like I said with this matchup, it'll be close, but I expect my squad to pull through. Yes, sir. Currently a 1-1 series. The escort map going the way of Blazing Magi, and the Mickey Mouse game mode of Clash going the way of the blue squad, MicroFish. So now we got another Mickey Mouse game mode in Koth. All right. We'll see who has the better setup here. Looks like Winston might feed himself to the blender again. We'll see, though. So he does jump in very deep. He does put the bubble down in a better spot, though, than what he usually does. So Zen is going to be the first to fall. Monkey's going to be shortly to follow. The usual suspects of death. Sigma going to be next to fall. However, Soj and Symmetra putting in some work here. And they are going to be holding on to that first grab here. First point grab. Their tanks doing their part. Using all of their lives to tank for the Soj and the Sim. Resulting in a team fight victory. And our percentage is going to begin growing here. Alright, here comes MicroFish. With a recontest. Monkey already pretty deep here. Genji actually able to take out that Soj. Big pick. However, Sim able to take out 2. Sim fully carrying the squad here. Getting all 4 kills from Blazy Magi. And that is going to be a team fight victory. As we put MicroFish through the blender. Blazy Magi hoping for their next series victory here. So are MicroFish. Currently tied in the series, 1-1. Blazy Magi in the lead on this map. Tracer going in a little bit. Sim gonna fall here, so that's a big pick for MicroFish. Huge fight win for MicroFish as they somehow managed to lose no members. That Zen got very low, but able to sustain. 65% on the board for Blazy Magi. They will have to win 2 more fights to win this map. On the flip side, probably 3 or 4 fight victories have to come through for MicroFish. Alright. Here comes Blazy Magi. Zen getting pretty low here. However, Monkey, first to fall. Zen going to be next to fall. Here comes the squad. The Sim is in there. Is going to pick off 1. However, Genji just popping off. So we're going to have to see 2 more fight victories, I think, coming from MicroFish if they want to win this map. Whereas we're going to have to see 2 victories coming from Blazy Magi, I believe. Might even be 2 or versus 2. We'll see. Depends on how quickly Blazy Magi get back into this. We do have some ultimates building on both sides. The Brig ult and the Zen ult coming through on one side could be massive here. Soldier ult and Sigma ult aren't quite here yet. Winston kind of feeding again. Oh my word, Winston, stop feeding. Okay. Zen able to get 1. The trance will come out. So this is going to be a team fight victory for MicroFish. However, both support ults are invested. So now, crucially, for Blazy Magi, you need to touch here, but you have the Sojourn ult and you have the Sigma ult. It's just a matter of using those ultimates in this next fight. Winston going to be a little bit early to this party here. I don't know about this decision. It's probably going to result in a team fight loss and a map loss for us, or a point loss for Blazy Magi. Sim in very low. She does get the Brig though. Big trades coming through here. Can Sojourn just pop this ult? Here comes. Oh my word. They were not touching the point though. Sojourn and Sigma getting the job done. However, they need to win 1 more fight. Both teams need to win 1 fight to win this map. Winston going to have that primal, so maybe he won't feed as quickly as he usually does. However, Tracer has that pulse bomb. Could be huge. Really going to come down to ultimate usage here. As we head into this final fight on this point. This is actually a very close series. Okay. Monkey's going to go in. Onto the Tracer. Tracer getting down to half. She is going to get out with her life. However, she's very low now. Zen 1 HP on point. She is going to fall. Monkey popping the primal. He is going to live for a little bit longer. However, it is a 2 versus 3 as Sim goes down. And this is not good if you are the tanks on Blazy Magi. You have a lot of work to put in here as now they have the point. Or now, I guess we have the point still. But wow, it's finally going to use that pulse bomb, and that is just going to be it. First point, barely going the way of MicroFish, 99-99. Blazy Magi just not able to put it together here. Unfortunately for my squad, a very tight first point, though. Winston doesn't feed a couple of those times. Maybe they have a little bit better of a chance, but sometimes he'll just go in without using his bubble, and or go in using his bubble in a bad spot, and then proceeding to get out of his bubble and get shredded. If you are not getting any value out of your bubbles, you probably are not going to do very much as Winston. So, MicroFish lead this map, but are tied in the series overall. Lazy Magi looking to even the score on this map, using a nail biter on that first point. Genji going to be the first to fall here. Winston going to fall after, but Briggs is going to fall here, and so is the Zen and Tracer, and that will be the first point take here from Lazy Magi. I'm feeling a lot better about this one. Oftentimes, our first suspect for deaths have been the Winston and the Zen. However, Genji was the first one to fall in that fight. Winston very often the one to fall on the side of Lazy Magi first, as he does get a little bit aggressive. Alright. Comes the Sojourn damaging orb. It does eventually help find that Zen, and this is looking pretty dominant here on this second point for Lazy Magi, finally. Two very quick fights. Sim falling, though, is a bit of a mistake there. Could be capitalized on by MicroFish. 40% on the board and counting. Chances of winning this particular point are going up for Lazy Magi. However, Sim could get picked off here as she is rotating. Does get very low, however. I think she's gonna... Oh, she does not live. She's most likely gonna die. Oh, wow, she lives. What? Okay. A trade will happen. Zen falling first is not what you want to see. Is the most likely trade, though, it seems like. And that will be a Team 5 victory for Lazy Magi, as now this point could very easily go their way. Could very easily be 100-0 here. Just depends on, will these tanks get back in time? Winston on his way. Sigma also. Only one fight win probably necessary for Lazy Magi, as long as the fight doesn't go on too long. Zen immediately falling in. That is just going to be it here. That is going to be the second point going handily in the way of Lazy Magi, as we are headed to this third point, 100-0. A little bit of a misnomer on that first map, I think, but here we get the job done. And we'll see if Winston decides to feed or not on this second point, or on this third point. I think we can shut them down. I think we have the full capability of getting 3 maps against this team. But it is a close one, as you can see. Both squads can easily beat each other. It really depends on mistakes made by the bots, which there are a lot of mistakes made by the bots, I will be honest. Zen, a very good carry to have on your squad, though. As you can see, he just makes things happen on his own. And he is very helpful with the 2 DPS on MicroFish, I mean. Alright. So last point. This one could be a little bit interesting. It does get a little choky at times, which creates problems, as we have seen for Lazy Magi. Sometimes they just sometimes the Winston will just funnel through those chokes and then jump forward and get himself killed. Without using that bubble. There we go. Here comes the bubble. As you can see, however, Zen traded out here. Shield putting in work for that Sojourn as she takes out 2. She takes out 3 now. Only Tracer left alive, and she is eventually going to fall. Sojourn getting all 4 picks in that fight. It's proof why Sojourn has kept maintained on my roster. I love this hero. I think she is very good in overbots. Definitely not as good as your Torbs and your Bastions, but I think she's a solid pick all around to have on our roster. Definitely not a throw pick. Of course, everyone has to have some throw picks. I got Sigma on my squad after all. Okay, Genji, half HP on the point here. Able to take out, wow, Sojourn put in absolute work, and the Sim, and this is looking like another 100-0 if I'm going to be honest. I think we're going to slap him around here. now that we have point control. That first fight was a little bit sketchy, but now that we have point control, I'm feeling like we're going to slap them around. So that first map, MicroFish able to run it back, get to the 99 marker, and then win that final fight. And these last two maps, I think, or these last 2 points have been completely different stories. Blazing Magi just shredding MicroFish apart. I believe this is probably going to be a 2-1 heading into another map after this for Blazing Magi. Really got to hope on a deathmatch map or a clash type map if you are MicroFish, I think. I think those are your best 2 options against Blazing Magi. Alright, here we go. Sigma getting very low. Oh, Symmetra able to take out the Tracer, and Symmetra just absolutely frying. Getting all 4 kills in the kill feed. The 2 DPS on Blazing Magi are very strong, I will say. Even our tanks might not be the strongest, but having them there as bodies to just take damage for my team, it can be more than enough sometimes. Alright, here comes that Tracer. Genji getting very low. Brig is going to fall too. And so 1 pick coming through. They do eventually pick up that sim, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That'll be a Blazing Magi 100-0, 100-0 after losing that first point. So Blazing Magi putting in work. They are going to be up 2-1 in this series, heading into a map 4. We'll see if they can secure another series dub. Their second in as many weeks. Or actually, did we win? No, we won 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't remember. Either way, we're definitely not like... I don't think we're contenders, but... Hey, winning against these bottom teams feels equally as good for me. Blizzard World, so this one could be good for MicroFish, I think. We'll see. Blazing Magi on the first offense here. Yeah, it kind of has that like scenario where Winston will get himself caught out and killed by the Zen spam. So, map 4, going to be Blizz World, a hybrid map. So we started on Escort, we moved over to Clash, then Koth. Blazing Magi won both on the Escort and the Koth map. However, they lost the Clash map to the MicroFish. I think those more momentum, moving around, swingy maps. I think those push maps, those... flashpoint maps, those type of maps, I think would favor MicroFish a lot. And then like deathmatch, I think would favor MicroFish a lot. But I think these are the type of maps that might favor Blazing Magi a little bit more. I think on this particular hybrid though, there are some choke points that I think they could abuse the Winston, because he tends to like overextend himself and then not get help and just die to all 4 members of the MicroFish. We'll see, though. If they move together, it's going to be a little bit more scary if you're MicroFish, because the 2 tanks plus the Sojourn and Sim are just really hard to contend with when you have no tank of your own. And plus, they have shields in your face. So, we will see. We will have to see here. Winston going around. He's going to be in there by himself. And like I said, that's where you can have problems on this Blazing Magi squad. So when your Winston kind of gets caught out like that, you do pick off 1, but that's probably not going to be enough to win a fight. So, MicroFish setting themselves up for some success here. Blazing Magi looking a little bit worse for wear here on this hybrid map. So you can see the Zen spam and the Winston. Zen very good against Winston if he is isolated. And he tends to isolate himself in these bot matchups at times. He will isolate himself again here. Probably going to fall. Going to have to rely fully on his team to carry him out of this mess. Zen does fall, but that's just not going to be enough here. Sim able to pick up 2, but the respawns are going to come in time that I don't think it matters too much. However, all Blazing Magi is back, so we'll have to see here. if we can get another contest before that Zen gets back, because the Zen is the crucial killer of the Winston here, and Winston is going in again alone. I don't know about this one. See, this is the problem with the Winston. If he goes in alone, he often just falls over and dies. However, Zen actually kind of isolated here, so he's not going to get discorded and shredded this time around. He does live a little bit longer. It's going to be fully... Oh, wow. So the fight doesn't even devolve here in a way you'd expect for Blazing Magi, so that is very unfortunate, as usually when they get into a position like that, they are able to pick up some kills with their Sim Beam and their Soj. However, I think the turrets are too close to the point for Symmetra to be programmed to replace them. So I think since they're in this weird spot, they're never going to get out of this weird spot. I think that's how the Sim works. So Zen kind of getting isolated here. He's going to get zoned out by the Soj. Winston getting in on this Genji. Sim going to come in. She does actually replace her turrets, so maybe I was wrong about that. A trade will happen here. Sim getting one and Soj getting another. However, just the Sim left here and the Sigma. And Sig and Symmetra will get the job done here. Big wall coming through, and eventually Blazing Magi will take point A. As the respawns come back. On the other side, MicroFish holding on to absolutely every single ult. Blazing Magi have a lot of work to do here. Tracer coming in with that pulse bomb. Could be crucial. She decides not to use it there, even though she had a standing still Sim. Sen getting very low. She's going to go down. Show a trade for Symmetra. Brig probably going to fall here. She's 1 HP. Sojourn does eventually pick her off. Genji getting very low. He's also going to fall. Sojourn was very low, but she managed to win that. And now that Blazing Magi are moving, it's going to be a little bit rough to stop them, I think, here. Sim not the greatest point, or not the greatest attacker DPS, but she's one of the better defensive ones. So now that it's more like MicroFish attacking Blazing Magi. Could be interesting. Sim getting very low. She does kind of feed herself to the... Genji gonna feed himself in return though, which isn't great for his health. So, 1-for-1 trade. Brig getting very low. She is gonna fall. Zen gonna be able to take out this monkey. Zen just a true powerhouse to be reckoned with. As you can see, this is why he is one of the best bots we have in Overbots. He can just take over matches sometimes. I think Zen is going to get traded out here. He does. Doesn't take out the Sim, though. Genji, I don't know why he popped the blade there. Not going to result in any kills, as no one is alive on Blazing Magi. Kind of a waste of an ultimate there. I'm not sure why he used that. Could see the Zen ultimate coming through here soon. Comes the Winston around the corner. He's going to get on this Brig. Going to pop that Primal pretty quickly here. I don't know about this one. That is going to result in a Brig death, though, by the Soj. Some distraction. Zen going to fall. And that will just be it for MicroFish here. They're not using their ults for some reason. Monkey's going back to the point here. He's going to start pushing. Sojourn going to back off a little bit here. Tracer getting kind of stuck on that turret, but she does eventually break it. She's down to half HP though on point, and she will eventually just fall. And Genji also going to fall to the scrutiny of the MicroFish DPS, or the Blazing Magi DPS, excuse me. Well, Monkey's going to fall here to Winston again. He does tend to do that against Winston. He just goes outside of his bubble for inexplicable reasons and then dies. We might see one more recontest from MicroFish before Blazing Magi take... No, we will not. So, Winston has a long way to walk, as he does not use that respawn teleporter. Here comes the... Okay, that was a very poor use of ultimates here by Blazing Magi. It will probably result in them losing this fight. The rally and the trance coming out when the Sigma pops his ult. So that's going to result in a team fight victory here for MicroFish. However, the respawns actually put them past where MicroFish are, so now they're going to have to defend from this angle. It's a bit odd. the way they play this. Okay. So now now Blazing Magi coming out of the new respawn. Genji's gonna go in. Goes in quite deep. He actually gets very good value out of his dash there. Brings most of the members of Blazing Magi down pretty low, and that is going to result in a team fight victory here for MicroFish. 1 minute 10 on the clock here. You're looking good if you are MicroFish. It's really going to be a question of, can you do the same thing, though, on attack? Because that's where it is difficult to beat Blazing Magi, is when they are in a defensive position. Okay. Here is Sojourn. She is going to take off that Brig, and the Genji is also going to fall to her. And this will be a push continuation for Blazing Magi as they get on that payload. So we will be moving quite a bit past the second point. 16 meters past it so far. More to go. 3 on cart at this moment. This could result in a C9. More than likely. That's how most of these maps end. Okay. Genji puts himself into the drink there. That's not good. Getting very low, but he's going to survive the onslaught. Alright, here's the real question. Do Blazing Magi get off this point, or do they stay on it? So far, they are on it. A good sign if you are Blazing Magi. They are contesting. Going to be really up to, can we force a C9? It's very possible. They have the blade. Maybe they'll do something stupid once they see the blade come through. Teams tend to panic a little bit. So far, no C9 coming through. Winston getting very low. Sojourn able to pick off that Zen. Brig going to go down next. Genji getting very low. Do we just stay on the point here? We are off the point right now. Can we touch it? We do touch. So Winston staying on. Can Blazing Magi just maintain contact with this point? They are surprisingly good at pushing in overtime here. And ultimates are coming online, but man, it doesn't matter. We actually push it all the way through with no C9 in overtime. So that is a full map completion for Blazing Magi. Very rare sight for my team this season. Finishing maps is very rare. But right here, right now, we have all 3 points on the board. Now this becomes very highly winnable for Blazing Magi if they can hold down a defense, and this could be a 3-1 Blazing Magi. Very, very good start to the week. Of course, my team is going to have to do a lot more if they want to win their or a spot in the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, we more than likely have to win over 5 games. So, or 5 games, which is the most we can win now. We'd have to probably win out every single game, which would include beating Logi Swords. We'd have to hope Logi Swords loses their second matchup against Rush Hour. And we would have to hope to beat another very good squad in our team or in our division. So we'd have to win a lot of games, and I don't think that's possible. We'll see. We might not need to go 5-5 to make it, but I don't think it's possible. I think we're pretty much eliminated. Okay. Brig is going to fall here, and this is a good fight win for Blazing Magi. Not dropping any members. Winston getting very low, but managing to live. Sojourn getting at least 3. I think she actually had 4 there. So as usual, either Sim or Soj getting all the kills. Winston and Sigma don't do too much other than tank. Quite literally. They put out shields and make the other characters more useful. Okay. Tracer gonna destroy one of those turrets as she comes around the corner here. She is gonna get a little bit of beam damage on her. Again, she's going in deep. He is gonna pick off that Soja. It's a crucial first pick here for MicroFish. Good start. That is what you want to see. One of the DPS going down on the side of Blazing Magi is going to result in a team fight victory here. And a point take, much quicker than Blazing Magi saw. Winston, I don't know what he's doing. Don't exactly know why he was down there, but he's now backing off. MicroFish will take this point, but I think Winston is just going to go feed, unfortunately. Winston throwing away all chances of victory here. I swear. Okay. Yeah, he's going to die. Okay, not a great look there from Winston. This is definitely looking like a more and more winnable map for MicroFish. If they can push a lot stronger. Tracer getting very low. However, I think she's going to sustain through this. Her squad keeping her up. As MicroFish begin to push through. Sim probably going to fall here. Monster time bank heading into the second point. Looking very strong here for MicroFish so far. Can Blazing Magi get it together here? So Winston is going to go in. Does die very quickly to that Discord. Pulse Bomb is huge as it picks up the Sim. That is going to result in another Team 5 victory for MicroFish. And this is looking pretty dire here for Blazing Magi now because you have 0 time on that time bank. If they finish with a big time bank, it is pretty much curtains. You would need a miracle on defense. Miracle. So, going into the second point with 5 minutes almost. Genji's probably going to die here, though. So, here comes the Trance and the Brig Ultimate. Will eventually take out the... oh, okay, that's a pretty big Sim ult. Going to try to get this spawn trap on the third point. Tracer's probably going to fall here. She does. Winston not going to be back for a little bit here, though. Sojourn does have that ultimate. Gonna try a little bit of a spawn trap here. 4 minutes to hold, though. This is a monster time bank going into the third point. Comes the Genji. He does have that blade. Zen getting very low. He is going to be the first to fall in this fight, so despite the blade being used, Blazing Magi able to clean this fight up. This spawn trap going much better for them than that first point defense did. 4 minutes on the clock here and counting. You have so much time to work with. Ooh, the Sim turret's going into the spawn a little bit here, and that's going to result in a Zen. Maybe actually Zen lives. Oh no, never mind. Spoke too soon. Brig getting very low here. She is going to fall. Sigma very low too, though. Can they get that Sigma? They will. They will. And Genji is dead. Primal comes out. Spawn trap continuing here. However, they are down that Sigma. Probably one of the least crucial members of the squad here. I don't know what is Winston doing, man? He is doing the ultimate BM, but he can't afford to do BM right now. He needs this spawn trap to continue. Unfortunately, that will be Blazing Magi losing that fight. And more than likely, this map is probably going to go MicroFish's way now, I'm thinking. So Sim is going to fall. If Sigma pushes in alone, this could be rough. Okay, he is going to back out. Okay, so this corner is going to be very big. 3 minutes on the clock, so they do manage to wipe out like 2 minutes. Almost 3 minutes. Okay, so a trade will happen here. And wow, okay, Genji picking up lots of kills. Genji just absolutely popping off here. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. All they got to do is push it in. Could very likely end right here, right now. Can Blazing Magi kill this Genji? The ult comes out. I think Genji's going to die here. He will. Brig is going to go down next. Never mind, she's going to get helped. Wait, she could still go down. She is going to go down. Good job. Can we just not give up the payload here, please? Thank you. Okay, a minute 50 on the clock here. A lot of work yet to be done here for Blazing Magi. Tracer is pushing the payload, though. She does get that Sim. Tracer just absolutely popping off. Genji's coming back. Oh no, they're pushing the payload. Where's my monkey? Monkey, what are you doing? Monkey, I'm gonna lose it with you. Sigma's... No, 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 no. Don't let him push it in. Oh my word, what is happening? Okay, minute 20 on the clock. We cannot let them push it through. Zen's going on the top here. He's gonna get shredded by these turrets a little bit. That will result in a Zen death and a minute 17 on the clock, I believe. Oh, please, just stay on this payload. Don't get off this cart. No, 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 don't get off the cart, 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 don't get off the cart. I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Okay, so now it is very winnable for Blazing Magi. Even if they do cap here, we will get an attack, and they are going to... Oh my gosh. Brig's going to cap here. Oh my word. Getting off the point is so dumb, but they do it anyways. So only a minute attack for Blazing Magi on this Blizzard world. Stupidly evacuating the point when only Brig is alive really makes me angry that teams do that all the time. But I kind of expected them to take it eventually just because of how much we were getting off the stupid point. But we do manage to make it so we do get an attack. It will not just be MicroFish getting an attack here. Blazing Magi will get the first attack. However, our first attack went so poorly, I almost expect us not to take anything anyways. Unless we get a really good first fight. So we need Winston not to feed. On the other side, MicroFish, I almost fully expect them to take. So this is a really rough situation for Blazing Magi. Series very likely going to a map 5 now. This could be a draw though. Rare sighting of a draw. So Blazing Magi looking for at least a tick here. They need something to give themselves a win condition in this map. We'll see if they can get it. On the other side, well, actually, it really depends. But more than likely, you'll only be going for a tick 2 if you are MicroFish. If you full hold here, which I think, oh, Genji going in deep. This could be big. This could be the opening they need. Genji getting so low. Can they finish off the Genji? They do not. And instead, Sojourn is the first to fall. How can you let that happen? Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Genji going in so deep, not punished for it. This is more than likely a full hold now. Oh my gosh, that's so painful. Genji not getting punished for pushing up like that, as he was literally like 1 HP going around the corner. And now, I don't even know if we're going to touch. Winston is going for it, but he's just going to get shredded, man. This is really unfortunate for Blazing Magi. They're going to need some chaotic fight to happen here. Winston, get into your bubble, please. Yeah, nope. That is going to be it. So, MicroFish are going to take this map away, and it will more than likely be a 2-2 series going into map 5. Bruh. It could be a draw, though. If Blazing Magi aren't stupid and Winston actually plays defense, instead of going around back and just sitting back there for some reason and then letting his team die, Blazing Magi could still draw this. We could actually see our first ever Overbots draw, which would result in a non-map, basically. And we're going essentially to another map 4. So there is a chance that this is a non-factor map, which is best case scenario here for Blazing Magi now. Taking away a 1 map from MicroFish. Need to hope they don't get any good push through here. Unfortunately, Sigma bot not using the rock. I think rock would be so impactful in Overbots, but for some reason they decided not to give him the rock while he's playing. Kind of similar to Zarya. He just doesn't use rock. I don't know why he doesn't use accretion, but he is just a part of my roster to give me that extra sustain to hopefully let my DPS do something. Anyways, so we're going to need a solid 2.5 fight wins. Yeah, 2.5 probably. So because they'll get one fight, and then they'll get one fight in the last minute, and then their last fight will be like a staggered fight. So we have to win 2 fights for sure. The last fight's probably going to be easy to win, depending on how many members are alive after that second fight. Okay. Is Tracer going to go in pretty deep here? Flank happening on the side. Sim actually going down first. That is probably just the map. That is going to be 2-2 going the way of... Wow. They got that pick so quickly, where their first offense went terribly for MicroFish. But then after that, they went kind of hard. So now it is a 2-2 series. Like I said, this first point just kind of sucks balls for my squad. So now we'll see how this next one goes. This whole map's going to be decided on the map, and it is a Koth, so we'll see. Koth went the way of Blazing Magi last time around. However, MicroFish did win one of the Koth maps. We're going to be starting on Icebreaker? I think that's what this one's called. It is an icebreaker, as you can see. Big old boat. This icebreaker is like definitely stuck. Is that just me? Bro is like cooked. There's no way this thing moves. Okay. Got double cranes. What's better than one crane? 2. A map 5. A 5 mapper. Not what I anticipated today. But hey, if 2 of the bottom squads in this league are going to give us the best match we've had in a while, I am here for it. Blazing Magi and MicroFish playing fisticuffs. MicroFish have always been this really oddball team that has gone to map 5s with a lot of people just because of how strange their roster is and how poorly it can perform and how good it can perform at times. So it's just it's a mixed bag with that team, what you're going to get from any given map. Here we go. Blazing Magi, MicroFish, map 5, Antarctic Peninsula. Starting on Icebreaker here. Winston going to do his usual feeding display here. Looks like Genji's getting pretty chunked. Brig gonna be the first to fall. Zen gonna go down. Sigma's also Monkey's gonna fall too. Just gonna be that Tracer left, and Symmetra and Sojourn are able to pick off the last 2 DPS there. Will result in a team fight victory for Blazing Magi, and this is what you want to see if you are my squad. That last Blizzard World was very close, but went the way of MicroFish at the end there. Our attack was so poor, but here, feeling a little bit stronger. Hoping for some more good team fight wins like that. They are going to go the same way as last time, MicroFish. Force out that Tracer recall. Here comes the Monkey. He does get booped out. However, Zen's going to be the first to fall, and that's not what you want to see if you are MicroFish. It's going to probably result in a team fight victory here for Blazing Magi, as they do trade out the Sojourn, but not going to be quite enough. Symmetra just putting in too much damage, too much work. Alright, Sojourn will be back in time for this next fight. Looks like MicroFish are going to push yet again through the same exact way they've been pushing every single fight. Don't know why they haven't mixed it up a little bit here, but here comes Tracer. She might get just, like, absolutely obliterated here. Zen's getting very low to the turrets. Turrets are going to take him out, and then, man, this is looking very rough if you're MicroFish. You got to the map 5. Are you able to secure the match? You know, it's possible the next 2 points are very different, as we saw in reverse order. So, with the... with these 2 squads on, oh my word, what was the map? Busan? Busan. Alright, so Brig's going to come in here. They are going to get one more fight. She's just going to fall down, though. Zen kind of getting zoned out here. He does get that turret on. Oh, he's done. And then here comes the Tracer, and she's probably just done. And that is looking like it. 100 to zilch on this Koth map. Very dominant by Blazing Magi for this first point. See if that continues in Antarctic. Almost as dominant. Actually, it's pretty much basically the same amount of dominance in that as we saw from the Blizzworld attack of MicroFish. Was not really expecting that from the Blizz World to tag a Microfish, to be honest. Especially with how poorly they did on Gibraltar. Anyways, so this next point, I think this one could favor Microfish a little bit more here. These more so open points can sometimes create some drama with that Zen. We'll see, though. Sometimes I say things and then immediately flips on their head. Like, for instance, Blizz World, I thought for sure was going the way of Blazing Magi. I thought our defense would be solid, but then we ended up just falling over on first point. Blizz World, and then on the other end of things, we just could not push through first point. Blizz World. It's what costed us a huge time bank, and at the end we only had a minute. Okay. Here we go. Winston in here. Genji gonna get a little bit chunked here, however. Holding on to his life. This is so... but all the picks are going the way of Blazing Magi. One pick does go the way of the Genji, but only Sojourn will fall, and Blazing Magi will collect the point. So putting in just enough damage. This could be it. A 3-2 for Blazing Magi. We'll see. We'll see. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm hoping. Map 5 victory would be quite nice on the mantle. Alright. Genji's going to go down low. He does come in. Tracer's super low, though. She's going to fall. Briggs next. And they might get one pick here, but it's not going to be enough. They don't even get a pick. Never mind. Symmetra and Soj putting in work as per normal. And that is going to result in 30% on the board and counting for Blazing Magi. And it is looking very rough if you are Microfish. So you come back into the series, you trade maps with this team, but at the very end here, it's looking like Blazing Magi are going to come out on top. This is two very evenly matched squads. I came into the series saying that, and it looks like I was correct. It depends on the map. It really depends on the map. Sojourn gonna fall down here, though. Big pick started from Genji. Looking like a chance here. Genji doing a good job. So maybe I spoke a little too soon. Pulse bombing the turret is a little bit of an odd decision by the Tracer there, but we stand by it, I guess. So, Blazing Magi have 60% on the board. So, even though you do lose most of those fights, you'd have a very good chance now. Maybe you can run this back. 60% on the board. This is kind of similar to what we saw on that Busan map. Kind of a similar map, too. Got a big old pillar in the middle and stuff. Okay, Genji's going to get in here. He is going to... Wow, the Winston just dies so fast with that Discord on him. Oh, my word. So, Tracer putting in work. That will result in a team fight victory here for Microfish. And now you have a chance of running this back on him. Whoop. It was looking dominant through two fights for Blazing Magi, but Microfish came back in here and have been smacking us around a little bit. We do have that wall coming up as well as the Sojourn ult. However, a blade on the other side to match us could create some problems. Gonna go up the high ground. Drop down here, see when we take this fight. It's already 50% on the board here after, I think, well, we lost two fights against him. I guess it's fair. Soj gonna get in here. She is very, very low. She's gonna fall to this Genji more than likely. Actually, fall into the Zen. Only, now Zen is gonna not fall, actually. The blade does come out, though. This is looking very good. Okay, so they do get some ults. They do get some ults out of them, but they're both going to fall here. So one more fight coming through. Brig is going to have that rally. It's going to be rally versus the Primal Rage and the Sojourn ult. If we can see a touch, though. Oh boy, this is not good. Genji up top here. Monkey's going to drop down. Oh, Monkey's just going to die. He's not paying attention. He's AFK in the brain. Genji's going to fall. But unfortunately, just not enough time here to recontest. And this is looking like a team fight victory as well as a point victory for Microfish, as they completely turned that on its head from what we saw in the beginning. Unfortunately here for Blazing Magi. Sigma just trying to keep himself alive for as long as possible. Winston might be able to grab this touch. No, he won't. Gets booped off, and wow. Once again, a very similar story to what we saw in Busan on this type of map, where it has a big old pillar in the middle. Blazing Magi just not quite able to keep up. We'll see. I don't remember what the last point looks like. The geometry seems to matter a whole lot here. Ooh, this could be rough. No, Microfish might be able to do this now. So, running it back again from a 60% lead from Blazing Magi, and defeating them. Feels like when Blazing Magi lose the point, they get a lot less fights than MicroFish. I could be wrong, but it feels like it takes a lot longer for Blazing Magi to come back into a fight than it does for MicroFish. I have to count the fights later and see how many fights MicroFish are getting versus how many fights Blazing Magi are getting when they're down. Because it feels like they fought like 3 or 4 times before they actually took the point, and they only got 60% for Blazing Magi, so I'm just kind of wondering. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong about that, though. Alright. Monkey is in here, kind of deep. If he gets that bubble out, he should be fine, though. Zen first to fall. Good sign for Blazing Magi, as they do take out the Brig too. Genji's going to fall, and Tracer. And that will be a first point take for Blazing Magi. Once again, we've seen that on every single point up this far, I believe. So now, how many fights? So that is 1 fight for Blazing Magi. We'll see how many fight wins they have to get in order to win this. I'm going to start counting. Okay, here comes Tracer. Getting stuck a little bit. Gonna build up some extra percentage there for Blazing Magi. So Brig getting very low. So that is probably another fight win right there. So 2 fight wins for Blazing Magi. More than likely, unless Zen puts on a clinic here. Yeah, no. Okay. So 2 fight wins for Blazing Magi, and they're only up to 30%. Okay, see if they get another fight here. Yeah, so about 3 fights to get up to 60. Well, actually just 2 fights. 2 fights to get up to 60. So another like 1 fight. So you just need to win like 3 fights in Koth, it seems like. Okay, if you're bots. Anyways, I think there's more fights in an actual game of Overwatch. Okay, anyways, here comes Tracer. She is in there. Gonna recall out Genji, able to pick up that turret. The bubble does come down. Zen's going to be the first to fall. Brig's going to fall next. So that is 3 fights down for Blazing Magi. They only need 1 more fight. If there's a touch, that is. And this will be a 3-2 victory for Blazing Magi. Their second victory of the season against the team that refused them for trading. Feels good. It said, I got a different trade partner. Now I beat them. Mwahaha. Okay. Let's see. They do get 1 more fight, so they actually get like 4. They get 4 fights. I feel like my team only gets like 3 fights when we lose the point. Okay. That's a big pick there. However, doesn't matter. Big wall coming out, and that is just going to be it. Blazing Magi finish this series off 2-1 on Antarctic Peninsula and win the full series 3-2. Thank the Lord. Big time. We won our second series. I'm here for it. GG. No re. Go next.